So I wanted to talk about the spiritual underbelly of the spiritual movement, gurus, teachers, local drum circles, etc. Spiritual movement, people trying to wake up, and all this work, shamanic work and so forth. There's this spiritual underbelly that can happen. What I mean by that is this. Let's say you go to the local drum circle and there's some people that show up that have been drinking or smoking pot or whatever, and there's an unconsciousness that comes in. Or in an ashram where, you know, you've got very repressed sexuality, that'll act out somewhere in some inappropriate power sex with disciples or something like that. So that there can be a apathetic, feel that, an apathy kind of, oh, let's get all drugged out, man, it's all cool. That kind of apathy, and not, you know, and of course we all smoke pot as, you know, growing up and all that, and there's nothing wrong with marijuana. Marijuana's great. I wish they would legalize that instead of legalizing alcohol. Alcohol makes people fight, you know, and marijuana makes people peaceful. But, as we all know, it also doesn't make people work hard, so we need coffee and alcohol, stimulate them and then get them to fight. That's what the current paradigm wants, of course. But so this spiritual underbelly, this sort of seediness that can occur. And it can occur in our lives too when you start on the spiritual path. Why does this happen? The basic root of it is if you do not deal with your internal energies, your hopelessness, your sadness, your rage, the shadow side. If you don't deal with your shadow, it will manifest somewhere. It's like that silly game at the county fair, whack-a-mole. If you push it down here, it'll pop out there, right? So the energies don't lie. The energies will surface in one way or the other. They'll either surface inside you consciously, and you can convert them, alchemize them. Check out the alchemy energy process, which is a process I've created. It's really an ancient process, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, but how to alchemize energies. But either it comes out consciously or it comes out subconsciously in denial. When it comes out in denial, you get weird things happening. You get strange people at your seminars that yell out stuff at you. You get unbalanced schizophrenic people. Ultimately, it can be insane. Ultimate unbalance is people get assassinated, you know. The collective shoots John Lennon, JFK, so forth. And what I mean by that is the collective is so repressed and stuck that when there's someone with a very bright light that comes along, it just unconsciously wants to get them. So this, to prevent this shadow from acting out in denial, whether it's in a spiritual group, in your own life, at the local drum circle, you know, where you got some people crashing the party, man. You know, it's not very conscious, right? And when you're young and it's fun, it's not a big deal, you know, being sort of, you know, pots, smoking pot and all that stuff, not a big deal. But when you're trying to do spiritual stuff, even the Shivites, the ones that smoke marijuana once a year in Nepal, the Shiva sects, you know, it can be misused. If you do, of course, if you do not deal with your shadow stuff, you cannot form a group in the mountains and go, let's all just pray and chant and invoke and expect heaven on earth to come. No, what you end up with is a cult with weird stuff manifesting, local law enforcement bothering you, and you end up storing guns in the basement. We all know that. The local cult living in the mountains of Montana storing guns in the basement, not a good idea. But that manifests, by the way, people freak out when I do this symbol sometimes. It's just a teaching symbol. It's the ancient jnana or vitarka mudra Buddhist tradition, and people freak out at some symbol for 6666. You know, come on. Get out of the paranoia basket. You know, get real. These are teaching symbols. These are ancient mudras. Even this one, the horns. Oh, it's the devil. No, it's not. Look it up. An ancient mudra, Kanadra, I forget the exact name, Kanata mudra of Buddhism, that means protection from demons. And that's how the Italians used to use it. This is actually protection. Quit the paranoid state. We don't have time for it. I'm being a little harsh and direct here today. But it's time. You know, we can get stuck in all the conspiracy stuff. Yes, it's horrible, the Illuminati, etc. But we've got to maintain some sort of equilibrium here. You got to do both. The bird flies with two wings. You got to do the outer work, learn about all the outer horrible stuff, fight it on that level. And then the main thing, you do your inner work, your inner connection. Be still and know that I am God. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, is Jeshua ben David's way of saying it. Every other teaching, Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras say you've got to do it on the inside first. So you do both the inner work, and then the outer will follow. As within, so without. Not as above, so below. That's true too. But as within, so without, your world will be reflected. The law of reflection, look it up. I got a video on that too. I don't mean to come across as flippant about this stuff, you know. But so, the seedy underbelly of spiritual awakening will manifest. Energy is energy. It is there. If you don't deal with your shadow side, which means feel your feelings, get real, you have two choices here, right? You can either reflect it to yourself, meaning I'm willing to look at myself. Show me my stuff, God. Go to an ayahuasca ceremony. Be willing to look at your stuff. Or ask other people, how do you feel I come across? What's my energy like? How are you affected by it? Hear the feedback. Doesn't mean it's accurate all the time. Be willing to get feedback from the world. Or you'll get strong wake-up calls from the outer world. You cannot beat God. You cannot beat spiritual physics. You can't beat the sun and the universe and the galactic energies, the electromagnetic clouds that make our bodies. You can't beat that. Your only choice is to surrender into it, to be part of it, to be willing to see. So, to avoid the seedy underbelly of spirituality, deal with your shadow. You have to deal with your shadow. If you don't deal with the shadow, it will meet you as an externalized aspect of yourself. Yeah, it could show up in your bedroom at night as some shadow people. It will. But when you integrate it, feel it, face it, and free it. Feel it, face it, and free it. You have to feel it. You have to process this stuff. Okay? Now, how you do it is up to you. You don't have to suffer with your suffering, as it's been said, but you can. It has to be done. All right. So, to prevent all that crappy spiritual, black, seedy underbelly manifesting in denial, deal with your shadow side consciously, up front, by choice. All right. Thanks.